As we seek to co-create new and better ways of being and doing in the world, it is clear that we also need to see things differently and approach things differently. That includes how we seek to understand and solve our challenges on every scale. In the words of Marcel Proust, at least as they have been popularised and paraphrased, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. So we are inviting new eyes, new perspectives, and expanded awareness of the potential within us and around us. In the quest for better health for all, people, places, and planet, we need to question how we see health. Can we aspire to something greater that invites a sense of more interconnected vitality, an aliveness that is magnified by awareness of our inherent connections to all things, that is fueled by the awe, joy, love, and other positive emotions we feel in those moments of deep inspiration and connection? These feelings are profoundly important for our physical and emotional and spiritual health span and our lifespan, but we rarely measure them or consciously invest in them. However, there has been a progressive global shift from concepts of health as more than the absence of disease to more holistic well-being. In the 1950s, Halbert Dunn described high-level wellness as perceived harmony between a person and their external environment, with a feeling of being alive, clear to the tips of your fingers, you have energy to burn, you tingle with vitality. And now we see new efforts to expand narratives of fulfillment across a bio-psychosocial spiritual continuum to concepts such as flourishing. This has been defined by Tyler Vanderweel and the architects of the Global Flourishing Study as the relative attainment of a state in which all aspects of a person's life are good, including the context in which that person lives, which adds greater emphasis to the importance of the physical, social, and economic resources, to the relationships, happiness, purpose, and meaning, and seeks to measure all of these. As well as measuring and valuing social resources, this also elevates the importance of human virtues and character strengths such as honesty, curiosity, fairness, and kindness. These character strengths are an avenue to virtues that are valued across cultures: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. These are not only linked to well-being, but also the pro-social and pro-environmental attitudes we need most in the world today. And cultivating this kind of emotional intelligence in early life is one of the most powerful ways we can invest in individual and collective well-being for the next generations. We equally need to understand how potential limiting beliefs and attitudes of all kinds may be hindering our ability to see and enact new possibilities. This includes understanding the rise in greed and narcissism and the propensity for dehumanization as a factor in the growing social and political polarization. Again, we need to look at the common, deeper threads rather than being drawn into the polarizing agendas that don't go deep enough and only perpetuate conflict. We also need to look at the power of attitudinal shifts in overcoming deep rifts, such as the power of forgiveness, for emotional self-healing empowerment, and of course for physical well-being. Much of this may be obvious and intuitive, but in a more empirical world, the more that we can measure all these elements, the more we can give them value. Many of these tools have already been developed, we just need to be using them more, and this session is about hearing from people who are doing just that. The more we can demonstrate these relationships, the more we can reinforce them and reinforce these narratives to influence global perspectives. That includes showing biological pathways, connecting our total physical and emotional experience over lifetimes, the exposome, to physiological processes in a much more holistic way, transduced through the dynamic interface of our microbiome, metabolome, and inflammasome in ways that can affect all body systems and long-term resilience or risk of disease. So to return to the words of Marcel Proust, which were inspired when he was transported to a forgotten yet familiar, unseen world by music and art, intimate fragments of that infinite space rendered externally visible by creative spirits wild with joy. His actual words to me are more meaningful than the oft paraphrased quote that I began with. He said, The only true voyage of discovery, the only fountain of eternal youth, would not be to visit strange lands, but to possess other eyes, to behold the universe through the eyes of another, of 100 others, to behold the 100 universes that each of them beholds, that each of them is. So I finish on that word is, because it is a word of being. And it's the perfect introduction to our first contributor, Adam Marple, Assistant Professor in Directing at the American University in Cairo, Artistic Director of the internationally recognized Theatre of the Others, who will read the poem Singularity by acclaimed American poet Murray Howe. And then we have another treat, the esteemed theoretical physicist and public intellectual Marcelo Gleiser, Templeton Prize winner and author of The Dawn of a Mindful Universe. I hope these perspectives will help transport you to a place where we can behold the universe through the infinite eyes of the same source. As Proust concluded, with artists like this, we do really fly from star to star. Thank you.